The lost science of the gods, when myths whisper of machines. For centuries, human history has been written as a steady climb, from primitive tribes to modern technology. But what if that story is incomplete? Across ancient texts, from Egypt to India, from Sumer to Greece, there are whispers of knowledge that defies time. Weapons that could level cities in a flash of light, machines that flew through the heavens, power sources that glowed like the sun itself. The ancients called it the power of the gods. But what if it wasn't divine at all? What if it was science, a science we've forgotten? Within the walls of Dendera temple in Egypt, carved deep into the stone, is an image that baffles modern minds. It shows priests holding what appears to be a massive glass bulb, with a filament-like snake running through it, connected by a cable to a strange box. For decades, researchers have called it the Dendera light. To Orthodox Egyptologists, it's purely symbolic, a mythological representation of creation. But others see something else, a possible depiction of electrical technology. So, the temple itself once contained copper rods, insulators, and sealed chambers, features that are honestly oddly consistent with early electrical experiments. Could it be that the Egyptians actually understood electromagnetic energy, not as some myth, but as a sacred force they harnessed through stone, sound, and geometry? Even Nikola Tesla, spoke of ancient knowledge, those lost harmonics of power that apparently could transmit energy through the earth itself. Perhaps the ancients weren't primitive after all. Maybe, just maybe, they simply spoke science in the language of the divine. In the Sanskrit epics, the Mahabharata and Ramayana, the gods and kings travel in flying craft called vimanas. They could soar in the sky, hover motionless, and unleash beams of energy that, made the earth tremble. Skeptics, they often dismiss these as just metaphors, but actually, detailed descriptions do exist, things like propulsion systems powered by mercury, engines that hum with liquid fire, and even complex schematics that have been preserved in the Vaimanika Shastra. Modern aeronautical engineers who took a closer look at the text found, descriptions that are eerily close to electromagnetic lift and ion propulsion. How could writers thousands of years ago imagine technology that mirrors the physics we're only now beginning to rediscover? Perhaps what we call mythology is history, encoded in poetry to survive the erosion of time. In almost every ancient civilization, there are stories of radiant objects, stones that glowed without flame, metals that hummed, crystals that stored the breath of gods. In almost every ancient civilization, there are stories of radiant objects, stones that glowed without flame, metals that hummed, crystals that stored the breath of gods. The Ark of the Covenant was said to emit deadly energy, and priests wore special garments to approach it safely. The Sumerians spoke of the Me tablets, objects of power that controlled reality itself. The Mayans described energy as the heartbeat of the cosmos, drawn from the stars through sacred architecture. Fascinating, isn't it? Could these myths describe forgotten energy systems, forms of wireless transmission or harnessed electromagnetic resonance? It's intriguing to ponder. Pyramids and ziggurats across the world align precisely to magnetic and astronomical coordinates. Quite remarkable, don't you think? Were they simply tombs and temples? Or, vast harmonic machines built to gather the planet's natural forces? What we call mythology may not be fantasy at all, but memory. What we call mythology may not be fantasy at all, but memory. So imagine for a moment a memory from an age when humanity walked beside advanced beings, or maybe when we ourselves wielded technologies that we just can't comprehend anymore. And then, when the earth shifted and civilizations fell, their machines, they corroded, and their records just turned to dust. All that remained, honestly, were stories, tales of gods, fire, and flight. Perhaps we are not the first advanced civilization. Perhaps we are only rediscovering what was once known. So we're learning, piece by piece, the lost science of the gods. If you believe the past still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered, like, comment, and subscribe to join the exploration. If you believe the past still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered, like, comment, and subscribe to join the exploration. Tell us in the comments, do you think ancient civilizations were more advanced than we realize? Your voice helps keep this community of seekers alive, and honestly, every interaction pushes this mystery further into the light. What if the myths and legends of our ancestors are not just stories, but echoes of a lost chapter in human history? A chapter where science and technology reached heights we can barely imagine. We're taught to see our ancestors as primitive, but what if a highly advanced civilization once flourished, leaving behind clues scattered across the globe? Megalithic structures, ancient texts describing flying machines, and universal myths of a golden age cut short. These are not isolated curiosities, but pieces of a global puzzle. The academic establishment dismisses them as coincidence, but the evidence tells a different story. Join me as we question the accepted narrative and explore the possibility that the gods of myth were survivors of a lost civilization, masters of a forgotten science. This is not just about the past. It's about rediscovering our own incredible potential. Let's begin. What if the gods of ancient myth were not supernatural beings, but masters of a forgotten science, so advanced it appeared divine? Mainstream history clings to a linear story of progress, but anomalies around the world challenge this view. Myths from Sumeria to Mesoamerica describe knowledge handed down by powerful teachers, echoes of a lost civilization. Are these universal stories mere fantasy or distorted records of real events? Consider the Dendera light in Egypt, resembling a giant cathode ray tube, and the Baghdad battery, capable of generating electricity. These artifacts are dismissed as curiosities, but what if they're remnants of real technology? The lost science wasn't just about machines. It was deeply intertwined with spirituality and a profound understanding of the universe. The pyramids, for example, are not just tombs. They are precise astronomical observatories, possibly machines with a purpose we've yet to grasp. Myths also speak of cataclysm, a global flood, a fiery rain, shared memories of a world reset. What survived were fragments, whispers of knowledge, distorted into legend. Our task is to decode these messages and reassemble the lost science. When we ask if the gods were masters of forgotten science, we're following a trail left by our ancestors. This trail leads us to a past far more mysterious and magnificent than we've been told. The evidence is there if we dare to look. Let's follow it. Egypt's monuments captivate us, but what if their true purpose was more extraordinary than we imagine? Deep beneath Saqqara, the Serapeum holds granite boxes crafted with impossible precision. Were these temples machines designed to harness energy? The Dendera light relief hints at ancient technology. The evidence is carved into the bedrock of the Nile Valley, a testament to a science so profound it became the magic of the gods. In India's ancient texts, the Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Vaimanika Shastra, we find astonishing descriptions of flying machines, vimanas. Mainstream scholars dismiss these as fantasy, but the texts are technical, detailing construction, propulsion, and even pilot requirements. The Mahabharata describes weapons and aftermaths eerily similar to nuclear explosions, hair and nails falling out, food contaminated. Are these coincidences or memories of real technology? The Vaimanika Shastra outlines metals, alloys, and mercury vortex engines, concepts only now being explored by modern science. Even if the text's origins are debated, the tradition of flying machines is deeply embedded in Indian lore. What if these are fragmented technical manuals from a lost technological age? Vimanas powered by refined fuels or spinning mercury engines hint at propulsion systems beyond our current understanding. The texts also mention invisibility, illusions, and remote viewing, advanced physics disguised as magic. The academic world labels these myths, but to do so is to ignore the possibility of a forgotten science. The Vimanas are not just stories, they are blueprints for a lost paradigm. The evidence is in the written record, waiting for us to read it as history, not fantasy. If we open our minds, these texts could reveal a technological society that once soared above the earth. The question is, are we ready to listen? The answers may reshape our understanding of history. What powered the lost civilization of our ancestors? The clues point to energy sources as mysterious as they are powerful. The Great Pyramid may have functioned as a resonant machine, converting Earth's vibrations into electromagnetic energy, broadcast wirelessly. Plato's Atlantis, with its orichalcum pillar and central temple, hints at advanced materials, possibly superconductors or radioactive elements. Legends of the Great Crystal, or Tuaoi Stone, describe a device gathering solar, stellar, and terrestrial energies, broadcasting power across the land. The Ark of the Covenant, described as a gold-plated box with a solid gold lid, resembles a giant electrical capacitor, dangerous and unpredictable. Biblical accounts of its power, walls crumbling, people struck dead, sound more like technology than religious relic. The Vimana texts mention mercury vortex engines, echoing modern concepts like magnetohydrodynamics. These clues, pyramidal resonance, mythical metals, power crystals, capacitor-like artifacts, and mercury engines, suggest a science based on resonance, electromagnetism, and perhaps gravity manipulation. This was a clean, powerful technology, deeply connected to the natural world. Mainstream academia refuses to connect these dots, clinging to old narratives. But the evidence points to a lost science of harmony, not destruction. Our current energy crisis may be the result of forgetting this ancient wisdom. The answers we seek for a sustainable future may lie in rediscovering the power sources of the gods. The blueprint is there, encoded in myth and stone. Will we have the courage to follow it? The choice is ours. These mysteries form a single story, a lost chapter of human history, erased by cataclysm. Megalithic sites like Pumapunku and the Osirian, built with impossible precision, defy conventional explanation. Ancient maps, like the Piri-Reis, show Antarctica's coast free of ice, evidence of knowledge predating the last ice age. Universal flood myths from Noah to Manu echo a real event, a global deluge remembered by over 500 cultures. Science now considers the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, a comet strike around 12,800 years ago, causing devastation and a sudden deep freeze. This timeline matches Plato's Atlantis and explains the sudden disappearance of advanced civilizations. The gods of myth, Apkallu, Quetzalcoatl, Viracocha, were likely survivors, passing down fragments of lost knowledge. Sudden bursts of astronomy, mathematics, and architecture in ancient cultures were not inventions, but legacies. The electric temples and vimanas are echoes of a parent civilization's science. The megalithic ruins are the last remnants of their cities. We are a species with amnesia, living in the shadow of a great forgetting. Academia has guarded this amnesia, policing the boundaries of acceptable thought. But the memory survives, in myth, in stone, perhaps even in our DNA. It is a memory of a time when we were more than we are now. Our task is to remember, to piece together the fragments, and reclaim our forgotten heritage. The evidence is all around us, waiting to be seen. Will we continue to forget, or will we become the agents of remembering? The choice is ours. We stand at the edge of forgotten time, with only the tip of the iceberg revealed. The electric temples, vimanas, and lost power sources are signposts to a hidden history. If our ancestors achieved such wonders, what potential lies dormant within us? Share your thoughts and discoveries in the comments. Together, we can piece together this lost story. Support our work by liking, subscribing, and joining us for the next investigation. The story is far from over. Join us as we continue to uncover the secrets of our ancient past.